In this lesson, we're going to talk about polygons. As you can tell, we're going to get the kind of the basics down for polygons, and then over the next few weeks and months, we're going to get into more of the little details dealing with polygons. But for a starter, just want to know, what is a polygon? And a polygon is nothing more than a closed figure. It's made up of segments as sides, and I have a bunch of examples of some polygons. Now, some of them you probably recognize that you've seen before. You've seen something that appears to be a rectangle or a triangle. You know, here's a pentagon. But even something like this one, that's a polygon because when you look at it, all the sides are segments. It's closed. That's a polygon. Same thing with the star over there. That's going to be a polygon as well. Now, I also have some non-examples of polygons. For example, this figure here. That's not a polygon. It's closed, but it's not made up of segments. And then this one, as you notice, I hand drew that myself. But that's not going to be a polygon either because when you look at it, assume that what I drew were straight, so I have segments. But there's this opening right here. Therefore, it's not a closed figure, which means that it's not a polygon as well. So remember, closed figure made up of sides. Now, I want you to know the names of these different polygons. They're all also on page 46. I'm going to go out on a limb and say you're going to recognize a lot of these, like the triangle has 3 sides. This one, a lot of people will go with rectangle or square, but the overall name for a 4-sided polygon would be the quadrilateral. You're going to get your pentagon, your hexagon, your heptagon. That might be a new one to some of you, so that might be one you might want to study a little bit. The good old 8 sides, the stop sign, known as the octagon. 9. Now, this one's a nona, not a nina. So remember, it's N-O-N-A, gon. 10 sides, I like to think of 10 years as a decade, so that helps me remember a decagon. And then 12 sides, I remember this one because 12 is 2 more than 10, so I need 2 more letters. Therefore, it's the dodecagon. And then my last one, n sides. Now, when I say n sides, I mean it could be anything. It might have 15 sides. It might have 20 sides, etc. So if I say it has 20 sides, n is 20, we'd call it a 20gon. Okay? That's why you see n sides, the number of sides, we're just going to call it an n-gon. So like I said, 20 sides, we're going to call it a 20gon. If it has 53 sides, we call it a 53gon. So hopefully once you get past 12, they're going to be pretty easy to remember. You just say the number and gon. This is just a little FYI for the next slide that's going to come up. Concave and convex. We're going to talk about those 2 types of polygons. Now when you look at concave surfaces, they're going inward. Notice here it goes in. So on the inside, we call that the concave part, but on the kind of the outside, the part that's coming out, that's the convex surface. You get the lenses and the same thing's going to apply. Concave, and if the lens goes out, they call it convex. Mirrors are the same way. Caving in, coming out. So concave and convex. Concave is when it goes in, convex is when it comes out. Like I said, it's going to bring us to our next side. If I can find it, there we go. So concave, I didn't give you an actual definition, I'm just giving you examples. And the way I like to think of concave is, if the polygon has a cave in it, or it's kicked in or caved in somewhere, it's called a concave polygon. Now I look at this check mark and I think of it as, there's a big cave right there. So it's called concave. Big cave right there in the pentagon. The star, or a decagon, it's caved in all over. There's lots of different places where it gets caved in. And here in the arrow as well, which has what? 3, it's a 7, so it's a heptagon. That's concave as well, because there's a spot where it kind of looks like it's going in. Now when you get to convex, it's all going to be coming out. There aren't going to be any caves in it. So when you look at it's probably a square over there, pentagon, the hexagon, and the triangle, no caves, therefore it's going to be convex. Now, regular polygon. I think of regular polygons as something special. Now, those are polygons where all the sides are congruent and all the angles are congruent. This is probably one right here that's familiar to you. The regular quadrilateral, also known as the square. This one may be familiar to you, the regular triangle, also called equilateral. Because in all of these, now I went by what it looks like, so you may want to, in yours, put the little markings on it. On my pentagon, all the sides will be congruent, so I'd put single ticks, or you can put any number of ticks. And I'd have all the angles are congruent as well, by putting in the arcs. You could come to the square, well, all the sides are going to be congruent, and so are the angles. Now, you probably already know that all the angles are right angles, but if you didn't, you could just put single arcs or double arcs. And you could go and mark up the hexagon and the triangle the same way. But that's a regular polygon. I'm going to skip that one for now and come to that in my example portion.